Come get with us. Neil Snyder, Kimberly Walsh. It's the Mad Hatter Shows podcast.
Hey, everybody.
We added some promos there. We got some new folks in there.
Lovely.
We need to get a new one from Big Smoke because he's like half that size. I don't know if you paid any attention. He put on some weight through his life, and he has lost that. So I think he's just Smo now.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's not. It's an incredible thing. So, Mad Hatter Shows podcast. If you wonder why this is on your timeline, you're probably following either the Mad Hatter Shows page or one of the venues or other pages associated with us. So some of the shows we have coming up are coming to a venue you may be following. Otherwise, just stick around and see that we're letting you know what shows we're bringing to the area. And we're national now, so we're bringing shows all over the area.
Whoop, whoop.
National. Kimberly Walsh right here. You got a new job? Pretty exciting.
Working for the man, doing sales all day.
Sales all day.
Pick up your phone.
At 9:35, we have April from Night Riders going to be calling in. Rebecca Holden, very excited to have her calling in. I've run into her at a couple different conventions, and I was like, we got to get her on the podcast. So, and another special occasion, another reason to mark this as like a milestone. The first repeat guest we have ever had on the Mad Hatter Shows. We had to bring him back. He was the first guest ever, and he is our first guest tonight. Let's bring on Reno Collier.
Let's go, guys.
Hey.
How do you do? Hey, Big Smo lives by me.
Yeah?
Like in Tennessee, and there's a rib place he goes to. That is one of the nicest dudes. I saw him on in the beginning. He came out to my golf tournament and just to bring stuff and be a good dude. I love that guy.
He's just like, I don't know if he eats more than one rib now, though. He's on a carefully prepared. Have you seen him lately? Like he's
lost a lot of weight.
It looks incredible. So,
Lil Smo.
Well, you've done the same thing too. We talked about that on the last broadcast. You're the frat boy college chunky Reno that was on the blue collar, and now we got all grizzled mountain man Reno Collier. So things happen.
I couldn't grow hair on my face back then. You know what I mean? It was just I was a little ball of dough, and no neck, just like a thing on top of my shoulders, and I got pretty big, man. I had a good time though. It was fun.
And now you're like you're our first two-time guest, so now you're the answer to a super specific trivia question. But you're also kind of like the LeBron James of Mad Hatter Shows. You're always looking for a super team. We've had you with Pat Godwin. We've had you with Cletus T. Judd. Soon Patrick from radio program Big D and Bubba, is that what it's called down south? That's a regional show I'm not familiar with.
It's syndicated. It's like 100 markets.
Nice. I am sometimes out of touch. But I do know Bob and Tom. And
yes.
Josh Arnold. Bunch of shows coming up with him, including this weekend, coincidentally.
In like Columbus and Hobart. Is that right?
Hobart. I think they don't like it when it's a Bart. Hard art.
Hobart.
Tickets at madhattershows.com, and then the next weekend in Martinsville and Richmond, is it?
Yeah.
You've got Richmond ties. You might be there, Kim.
I'd love to be there.
She's got a new boyfriend in Richmond, so.
Well, come on, bring him.
Just throw me under the bus. He's a friend.
All right. Well, bring
working
your
on
friend.
it. I'm working on it.
There you go.
So there's been like an evolution of your career here. You did a lot of like opening, like you were like the dark match. You're the before the cameras rolled for blue collar comedy and all that. And now, you're on TV and you're Bob and Tom when they go on TV and you're calling in every week and all that. What's that? I don't know, the evolution been like for you to kind of have different degrees of exposure?
It's been good, man. It's they're all different. Like with blue collar, I mean, I was in movies and like Them Idiots and stuff like that. I wasn't completely in the dark. It was really fun though, but it was different. I like doing shows for my own people. That kind of schedule and touring and everything is like you don't have any say. It's like we're doing these shows right here. Well, it's my kid's birthday. Well, do you want to do it, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So this is better for me as far as being able to go out on just a Friday and a Saturday night, knock it out, and still be home, at least a few days out of the week.
Yeah. What was that filming schedule like on NBC? You had the show that you hosted.
I was on that tour at the same time, so it was like we toured. Then I went and filmed. Like the NBC one was like 6 weeks. I did one for Animal Planet that was like 8 weeks. This extreme fishing show, but dude, the tours never stopped. So it was like go non freaking stop. And this, I'm happier than I've ever been. It's weird. Like, and those were the Boston Garden and Radio City and, Bridgestone, all that kind of stuff. To me, that didn't feel like comedy. You're kind of people, there's 20,000 people, and the people in the front row are looking up at the Jumbotron. And I'm like, you just spent $275 to watch this shit on TV. You could have stayed at home. Like, it's like ventriloquist. Like a ventriloquist, they're like, you sold out an arena. Well, anybody's a good ventriloquist if the crowd is 400 yards away from you. Exactly. Nobody can tell if you're moving your mouth. It doesn't make, I don't know. I like comedy in a smaller venue where it's raw and natural. And it's a microphone and a crowd and just boom.
And everybody in the Columbus Eagles is making eye contact with you at any given time when there's no escape.
I need that. I need that.
You've actually given me hope. I now know that I can do a very large venue.
Heck yeah, you can.
You're saying it's ventriloquism. I won't even tell jokes. I'll just...
Well, you got a dummy. You have to have a dummy. Stick your hand up Neil's ass, and then you guys have a show.
I feel like that's a unique show we haven't explored yet, but that's...
I didn't mean it weird, you pervert. I meant like a ventriloquist.
It's a different kind of show.
Right. I don't know if we can do that in Richmond, not in front of the boyfriend. But
this is not a boyfriend. It is not.
I'm going
What's
off
your
like,
boyfriend's name in Richmond?
I'm turning as bright red as the back of this wall.
Don't worry, nobody watches this. It doesn't matter.
This is what happens. It's been like 2 weeks. I haven't really said much to her or whatever. We sit down. I'm like, hey, how's it been? And she tells me about the dude in Richmond. I'm like, that's what I got to go off of. So this is
run with it. You're coming this weekend, right, Neil?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm running the show. If the sound doesn't work, it's my fault. So that's.
Oh, you got this too.
Yeah, it's. I'm gonna be setting up your mic stand and your lights, and we're gonna get everything going. I'll be the point of contact this weekend. So.
Right on, man.
That's not trying to brag.
It's gonna be fun, dude. It's gonna be fun. Josh is hilarious, and Jeff Oskay is gonna come with us. So it's going to be a blast.
So three fixtures on the Bob and Tom show. So we got a lot of Bob being based in Indianapolis. Bob and Tom, obviously, it's a brand name that for decades now has meant something. If you can put Bob and Tom on a poster, that means these guys are funny. Any recollections or any kind of like stories you have about being part of the Bob and Tom team?
Dude, those guys are the best thing for stand-up comics I think that may have ever existed. I mean, if you go back through when they started and how many careers of Gaffigan and George Lopez, and there's so many guys that Daniel Tosh that were regulars that would come into that show, and they're unique in the fact that a lot of morning shows try to be funnier than the guest. You know what I mean? Like they kind of try to make you stay in their lane, where Bob and Tom are like, hey, go ahead. What do you got?
I think
it better be good.
And they're not too cool to laugh either. They will laugh all the way through. That's what I remember growing up. Is like you knew it was good because Bob and Tom were in the studio laughing along with the rest of us.
I think
having
it just
fun,
shows their brilliance. That they allow those people to shine because it only makes them look better.
You're exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why other shows don't get that. Like, why would you try to change somebody of what they do right before they come in to fit into your thing? You know what I mean? And years ago, radio was a lot different than it is now. I mean, so much of it's syndicated and people listen all over the place. But to have everything in your phone, you don't need it. But the fact that I go do shows and play in Denver, Colorado, and people go, dude, I listen to you every morning on the Bob and Tom show, and I'm thinking, well, they're not on here, but people grew up with it. They moved somewhere else, and they can listen to it on their phone. Dude, I had a guy in Vegas. I'd gotten done with a show, and it was when I had a show on NBC. And there's people lined up to, just come by and say hi for a meet and greet or whatever. This dude waited and waited and waited and came up and goes, dude, I love you on Bob and Tom.
That's awesome.
And I was like, yeah, and I'm in Vegas, and I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. You know, like, because so much of it was they want to meet Cable Guy, or they want to, you know, say hi to Jeff, or, you know, whatever it was. But this dude waited through the whole line to tell me he loved me on Bob and Tom. And I was like, you just made my whole freaking, you know, walked right past them. You know, just kind of, I'm like, you guys suck. I don't care about the first 150. That last guy was the only smart one in this whole group.
Well, and Friday and Saturday, I mean, basically, at least this week, it's like a super lineup. Honestly, I've headlined Jeff Foxworthy in some of my rooms before, you know, and obviously Josh Arnold's a capable headliner. I mean, he goes, I think, in the middle. Nobody wants to follow Reno because he's a beast. If you haven't seen him on stage, he's an incredible stand-up. Sorry to embarrass you here,
well,
Reno.
Thank you, buddy. No, shit, I'll take all the love I can get.
3 in a row, like that's a super card. I made a joke about you being the LeBron James, but this is a show you should come to. MadHatterShows.com.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, they're all fun. You guys do a great job.
Oh,
I'll say thanks on their behalf.
oh, now I'm the one blushing. That's
Neil does. I don't know where John is.
He's actually in the studio here in the corner. Like,
is he really?
All creepy. Yeah.
Are you guys? Is that pink up because you're in Colombia with him?
No, he doesn't let me accompany him on those trips. That's
Are you in his hotel room in some freaking? You just got pulled away from the airport and they locked him up, and you guys are just kind of, hey, do it out of his hotel room. Look, the cops have blacked out his face. His voice will sound like this. You don't know who I am. I'm just a.
We're in the jungle somewhere.
It's a protected interview.
It's so funny. This isn't even a podcast. This is just like we're just dicking around. Hey, you want to come over and sleep over? Can John come over? You're in your sister's room. You'd have nowhere to go. Dude, those pink walls they match my face.
Well, the last time we had the black curtain behind, and so now we can actually go with any color, and the producer decided on pink. So that's where we're at. So
I think it's more of a red. It's not really pink. It's more red.
It looks pink on my phone.
It's kind of erotic, isn't it? It's like
I don't know. It's kind of making me sick. I'm just kidding.
It's the color of passion.
Yeah.
It is. It's also the color of chicks who sell Mary Kay stuff in their car. Mm-hmm. Do you sell Mary Kay?
No, not Mary Kay. But I would drive like a pink Cadillac. Given a pink car, I would totally rock it out Barbie style.
Pink Cadillac, I could see, but this is more like flamingos in your yard in Florida. Kinda.
You don't have to be so jealous.
You look good. You're good. It's him.
Yeah, it's. You know, I don't know what would my color be, Reno. Like, how do you fix this? This Uncle Fester in a studio thing. Like, I don't know how we do this.
I'd go with like a gray or a tan.
Okay, we got Riot, a local Indianapolis comedian. She says it's pink, so it's
okay.
We're not able to fake it here.
I'm on board.
So yeah, you got some name dropping with some of the shows. We got Rebecca Holden coming up here at 9:35. Were you a fan of 80s TV? Like, you got a favorite show?
Yeah, what show was she on?
She was April on Knight Rider.
All of them, basically.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and she guest starred on like 12 of them because she was a famous model that everybody wanted her on everything. So
I know who you're talking about. Is she coming on? Is she going to be on here now?
Yeah, we had to add, like, you know, someone like totally this at the end to get people to tune in, because we're like, it's Reno, he's going to trash the show. We gotta, you know, we gotta make sure they stick around. So
no, dude, I'm not trashing the show, dude. That's like my youth. Can you put her back up there?
Right? I'm sure many a young man had her poster on their wall.
Yeah. That's back with that hair. I love that hair, like Cheryl Ladd and Farrah Fawcett, and remember, and Daisy Duke, and they all had that kind of.
You got to have the bangs and then the high bangs.
Cherry pie. Yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The Fall Guy.
Yeah,
you had a couple of them on there too.
Awesome. So we have this weekend is Columbus and Hobart, and then we got Martinsville and Richmond after that, and then at later in the fall here, late summer, early fall, we've got you in Greensburg, Indiana, and then in Danville, Illinois. So tickets are at Mad Hatter Shows. For folks that are not in this area, how can they look up more Reno Collier stuff besides Bob and Tom?
Just on my website, renocolliercomedy.com, and that'll have links to all that stuff.
Awesome. All right. Well,
yeah, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you this weekend.
Yeah, we'll have fun. John says you do late night dog walks. Is that what's coming up next? Is that why?
Yeah.
He's like, Reno must go on first. He's got to walk his dog. I was like, is that a euphemism or is that he's really going to walk his dog? So that's
No, I don't know what euphemism means, but no, I really have to walk the dog.
What kind of dog do you have?
He's an Aussie Doodle.
Nice.
Yeah. Hey, Bo. Bo. Come here.
I love any kind of oodle.
Any kind of oodle?
Any kind of oodle.
He don't listen. But if I didn't want him to come, he'd be in here chewing up this microphone.
Right.
You know? Bo, come here.
All right.
There he was.
It's like like on cue. So we got your website up here for people to find here. But yeah, anybody within driving distance. If you're in the Midwest here, Richmond's super close to Ohio, and obviously we're dipping into Illinois then for the October date. So if you're in the Midwest, come out. It's all the shows are going to have you and Josh, and then it's like a floating third spot on the show, but it's 3 comics. Better than a traditional club show. Like I put up our show against whatever is going on in the clubs that are nearby. Like that's it's a fantastic lineup when Reno and Josh are together. So appreciate you stopping by.
I'm looking forward to seeing you. And you're doing the one in Clarksville.
Oh yeah, okay.
Right?
So we can bring that up too. It's not on the website yet, but yeah, it's in nearby Oak Grove, Kentucky. I will be on the show with you, and the show I need to research better. Patrick from Big D and Bubba is what it's called. Yeah,
Big D and Bubba.
I'm like, that's a regional show. He's like, no, you can hear it anywhere. I'm like, fuck, I can't. I can't get out of it. I just haven't heard it yet. So that's.
I know it's all good.
I am. I'm the guy that is at home watching Knight Rider instead of the new stuff. Like when something new comes out, like I'm always late to the party. I'm still a classic guy. So
I am, dude. Every commercial I watch is for really old people. Have you ever noticed that? Like like when you watch those old shows, it's like everything is for like sciatica and diabetes, and it's like, damn, dude.
I'm texting Jimmy Walker like, why are you on my TV right now? So on Medicare, like
that's
life alert.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, your dog knows you're going out, so that's we'll let you go there. But thanks for stopping by. We'll see you here on Friday.
I will see you on Friday. Great to see y'all.
Yeah, good to see you.
All right.
Awesome. The Labradoodle, the voice of the Labradoodle.
No, he said it was an Aussie Doodle.
Aussie Doodle.
I just like doodles because they have hair like me, and you can shape it in fun ways. You can I really would love to have a Labradoodle because I would make mine look like a lion.
It's a good ambition. You should do that.
Mm-hmm. I had a lot of life ambitions like that. I also want to own a camel.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to do with that information, but this weekend, 2 shows with Reno Collier and Josh Arnold. Also, this Friday night, we are going to be with the Hodge Twins in Hobart, Indiana. So if you live in Hobart, you can actually see 2 Mad Hatter shows without leaving town. So that's going to be...
I love it when they do that.
You're like the perfect sidekick here with the
thank you.
The commentary. I'm trying to stay on task, and you're just like, let me be the comic relief. So, Hodge Twins. There's a lineup there that you can see several shows. A couple of them that have passed, but some other ones that are coming soon. The Saturday date there for this Saturday is actually being delayed. So, folks in Indianapolis, stay tuned. We're going to get you the new date. Can I tell them the new date? New date's October the 1st, and the show has been moved from the last venue to the Irving Theater. And we definitely appreciate the Irving Theater taking on this show. And we appreciate all of our venues that support free speech. It's
America.
Best way to say that. So, and then August is also very big. We have 8 shows coming up with Chris Kattan coming up. He's like a veteran, I guess, of our series now, because this the first show we do with him will be his 6th one with our brand. But look at all the dates on there. So I don't know if we can zoom it all on there, but we're going to be in Louisville and Lexington next Thursday and Friday. Then we're going to be in Plainfield, Indiana, and then in Vincennes, Indiana, and then we're coming back the following week, be in Bartonville, which is outside of Peoria. And then the next night we'll be in Westville, which is outside of Danville.
Beautiful.
And then Indianapolis, and wrapping up in Fort Wayne. So a lot of opportunities to see Chris Kattan. Those tickets are at madhattershows.com.
Awesome.
I was waiting for more of your witty interjections. You're I got nothing for Chris.
My Kattan is more like this, It's like the night. The Roxbury kind of vibe,
Please stay tuned here. We got Rebecca Holden calling in here very soon. Definitely looking forward to talking to her here. Let's keep going with the scheduled shows we've got coming up. Debuting another name from the past we grew up watching, Christopher Reed, Kid from Kid and Play. We were going to have our first 4 shows with him coming up here in September.
Yes, huge fan.
Should we prepare and do the dance where we actually do the Charleston, the remix thing where we hop?
I love to dance.
Next time?
Also, I love anyone with fun hair. So throwback to the fun hair.
Yeah, I'm sure
I'm down.
We'll have to have him explain the high top fade, the super high top, the eraser.
I mean, he brought it. He brought it, and he popularized it.
The
People
premiere. Anybody else was that was that style. It was clearly his.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, another person kind of like Rebecca that is multi-talented. He was a voice of a cartoon, even. You know what I mean? And the 1-900 number you could call and get the tips from the band. He's like a teen idol. It had the music going on, and then obviously a comedic actor also. All the house party movies. And now he's killing it doing stand-up. So those shows are going to be in Hobart, Indiana, Indianapolis, Frankfurt, and Fort Wayne. So madhattershows.com is where to go with that. One of our other buddies is doing a single show with us in Arkansas. You weren't the host when we had Ginger Billy. Are you familiar with Mr. Ginger Billy?
I am.
You familiar with him? Yeah, he's an interesting gentleman. He's super restrained and calm at all times, as you can tell here. Also likes to wear a lot of clothing.
Often topless.
Ginger Billy with Brandon Rainwater, another one of our favorites, will be in Paragould, Arkansas. Tickets are still available right now, but I've been paying attention to the shit. They're not going to be available forever. It's very possible if you wait till the week of that you might miss out. So
don't miss out.
Yeah, go ahead and get your tickets now, because that's going to be a very large crowd there in Paragould, Arkansas. We already had a large crowd with the Hodge twins, and now we've got Ginger Billy coming. So we are having fun in Arkansas there. So. If you've only seen the videos here, he's also got a very funny stage show. He purposely has kept that off the internet, so you can't find his stand-up act. You have to buy a ticket and come out to see it.
I think that's clever. He's no dummy in that fact.
It's pretty smart. And then we've got another name from. We're going back to 80s TV. You remember Family Ties?
Of course.
Remember the next door neighbor?
Of course.
Skippy would he had the crush on Mallory, and then remember the episode where they had the same box of cereal that was like a healthy cereal that they blew the dust off because they'd always go over to Skippy's for breakfast. He had the sugar cereal. I remember all that. I had the Disney Channel back in the day when he was the host of Teen Win Loser Draw also. So flexing that a little bit.
Yeah.
We had pay back when Disney was a pay cable channel.
We have that in common, but I had no idea it was him, so I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, so now you need to go back and revisit that, and it'll be that's totally Mark Price. So he grew up in a showbiz family. His dad was a comedian, and he's doing the stand-up now, so he's been performer his whole life. He's a kid comedian as a kid. It was actually his gimmick, kid comedian. So one show, him and Bobby Henline will be at the Irving Theater in Indianapolis. That is a Thursday night show, November the 10th. Tickets are at madhattershows.com.
Go get them.
And we got another debuting comedian with us coming at the very end of the year. You a Seinfeld fan?
Who isn't? I mean, there are people out there. It's extremely popular. Extremely. I feel like it's been more syndicated than probably. Is there something that's been more syndicated than Seinfeld?
Well, probably something like I Love Lucy or Andy Griffith, but only because of the year they came out,
that's
right?
What I was gonna say.
I don't think Seinfeld ever went off the air. So, So people know who Steve Heitner is, even if they don't recognize it by name. As soon as you show his face, they're like, "That's him. That's Banya, right?" Like this. He was only in like 6 episodes, but it's funny because like if you ask somebody how many episodes he was in, they'd be like, "Oh, he's probably like 20, right?" Like, or more, because he was always referenced as well. So, and it seems like every time he showed up on the show, it was like a quotable. Like most of his on-screen minutes are GIFs right now on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like that's an incredible thing to be like a human like highlight machine of GIFs. If you pull up his resume, also, this guy's been in like 140 like things. Like he is, a great character actor. I've seen him in the movie The Prophecy, where he played the autopsy guy looking at the corpses. He's just had this varied career with all these different ways. He's been on so many different shows. He's on Working with Fred Savage. He's on the Bill Engvall show. He was on the Jeff Foxworthy show. Like, I mean, this guy can name drop
for
the
days.
Best of them. Absolutely. And
he's only 3 degrees to Kevin Bacon.
Are you for sure? Is that like you're just coming up? I bet you he's 2. I bet you if we really looked, I bet you he's 2 degrees.
Maybe he's even worked with Kevin Bacon.
He may have. That's so. Hopefully, we're going to have him on a podcast coming up before that event too. So we'll be able to talk to him about that, and that should be a lot of fun. But Steve Heitner, the end of the year here, Cincinnati, Fort Wayne, and Indianapolis, and you can actually ring in the new year with Steve Heitner. Because we're going to have him on New Year's Eve.
With how much he's done, I wonder how many degrees we could do to Steve Heitner from everybody else.
I don't know. We may have to like make that a segment on the podcast, like homework. But like we have to, we may have to basically bring him on and say, hey, how many steps do you think you are from so-and-so? And I've got a couple IMDb credits. I don't know if you have some IMDb credits. We'll find out how close we are to Steve Heitner. Like that will...
37 degrees. I mean, not if you count Second City. If I put that, like I was on that stage, then I'm like, everybody counts, right?
Were you in anything that was released as a video or streamed on a TV or a streaming session or closed circuit TV, or like your mom's camcorder? Okay.
I got some of that for sure.
There you go. So let's hear about the new job. Tell us what's going on with you. I'm getting ready to
making a lot of phone calls all day, getting hung up on all day. I'm super stressed out because I need a sale real bad.
Do you feel like you being on stage and being a comedian can help contribute to day job success?
Okay, so my boss recently told me the reason that she hired me was because I'm weird. She told me to stop trying to act like a business person.
Well,
because she said that's not going to make you successful in this field.
Did you believe that though? Like I feel like that's good advice.
Okay, so this morning I decided I was just going to do my own thing, and I got more people to talk to me just, being my lovable self than when I was like using the name Kimberly and trying to sound professional. So
no, you should be Kimmy on the phone when you're selling stuff. So awesome. Well, typically our show is advertising who we've got coming. We're always telling it, like, we got Reno this weekend, let's do that. We got a special guest tonight that's coming in here, and kind of like what you're talking about, being genuine. But I've been around Rebecca a couple times. She's got like an aura about her. Like if you were behind her at the grocery store buying bread, you'd be like, this person in front of me is somebody. Like this is somebody, like, you know what I mean? Like there's just something there, very, very, very classy. And one of my hobbies is actually going to these conventions and different gatherings as a fan. I've grown up watching. We were talking about all the shows. So
would you say it's a crush?
I don't know. It's a professional crush. It's a, you know what I mean? Like it's very appropriate. But
you are turning pink like our walls.
Just like the walls here.
I'll just put that out there.
So yeah, like we're gonna keep doing a little bit more of this, just bringing on folks that I've met and thought were pretty cool. Let's talk to them on air. So we've got her right here. Rebecca Holden she's been watching. She's like, why is this guy rambling? Because it's too late to bail. Like, is this? How are you this evening?
I'm doing great, and I see I got the memo to match your set.
Yeah, we're all in harmony tonight.
Thank you.
How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing great. I appreciate it. Like, I just saw that you got invited to Istanbul, Turkey. You're talking to a couple schlubs here in Indianapolis tonight, hanging out on a Wednesday night. So we appreciate you.
What's in Turkey?
Popping in here.
I get invited to a lot of wonderful places, actually. I've never been to Istanbul, so this will be a first. And it's a gentleman who is doing a Knight Rider video and a shoot, and there'll be autograph signings. And I'm there about a week, so they have a lot of things lined up. I understand
awesome.
It's going to be a very busy, busy week.
That's my second most popular country in Instagram.
No, really?
My followers are men between the ages of 25 and 45 in Turkey. I have no idea why.
Oh, my goodness. Well, they have good taste.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of people that watch. A lot of people that watch Knight Rider, right?
Yes.
You've had so many things you've done for so many years. Well, if somebody has not seen anything since Knight Rider, how would you sum up like what you do now? What you've been up to? Because you're staying busy. I've followed you online, and you're still out there.
Always busy. Yes, still doing film projects, a lot of independent films, but also my music. Music was my first love. I was a voice major and piano minor from the time I was a small child. Started studying piano when I was 7, I think. So I was in all the musicals and all the plays and all the choir productions and musical productions and so on. And so the acting sort of happened by accident. I was in New York continuing with my music studies, and I was discovered by an agent and put under contract for a shampoo commercial, Breck Shampoo. I was the Breck girl. And then that led to a lot of other commercials like Ivory Soap and Dentine and Kellogg's and Chevrolet and so on and on. And a very prolific television producer named Aaron Spelling, who I think had about 7 shows on the network at one time, sort of like Glenn Larson, who had that many shows on at one time at Universal. Aaron saw one of my shows, commercials that aired on the Super Bowl, and contacted my agent, and I was whisked out to the West Coast and started doing episodic television, and it just sort of blossomed from there. But musical was always my first love, and so I've been doing a lot of recording, and I sing for a lot of charity events and a lot of patriot events. I get asked to sing the national anthem everywhere, which is always an honor and a joy. I do a lot of things for the military and Operation Gratitude, which makes packages for the troops. And so
we just had a picture up there.
I'm busy singing. So,
yeah, we just had a picture up from your country album.
Yes, I was on Curb Records in Nashville and toured all over the country and all over Europe with my band. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
We would play a clip of that, but we found out when we had Daryl Worley on, even if you are interviewing the person whose video is up, Facebook will flag that and they will cut your feed. So
oh my goodness.
No audio coming, but you can find that on YouTube.
I think that video is on my website, so maybe you could play it from there just legally and not get in trouble.
To make it small, we'll have to not have the volume. We'll have to put it at a weird angle because it's some bot that's going to take care of that. But and then you're doing your more modern music. I was listening to some of that on Apple Music on the way here. I don't even know how to describe it. Like if Kimberly was like, "Let's go to the Rebecca Holden concert," I would know I need to dress better. That's like the genre you're in now. Like that's how would you describe to your fans the type of recording that you're doing now?
Well, it's sort of pop and inspirational and positive and uplifting. I do a lot of churches. I do all the music for my church. I play piano and sing every Sunday that I'm in town, and I like performing for churches. And but I've done a lot of duets. One we just did with Jason Crabb, who won a lot of Grammys and Dove Awards, and Engelbert Humperdinck and John Cicada and David Clayton Thomas from Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and Bill Medley from the Righteous Brothers, and Trenny Lopez. So a lot of I enjoy doing duets. It's a sort of a real collaborative effort.
I assume if somebody Googles Rebecca Holden, this will come up. Do you know the exact website for folks that are typing it in? Is it .com, .net? Like, is it real Rebecca Holden? Like, where's the?
Just RebeccaHolden.com. Keep it simple, as they say. Yeah. That's it.
And I met you at a convention.
You can write me at the video. I get lots of mail and emails from all over the world, and I enjoy getting back to being able to have that connection.
Well, you know how many people, when you meet them, they're like, "Yeah, I'd love to come on your podcast. I'd love to, and then they never reply back. So Rebecca will sometimes reply back because it's happened to me, folks. Like that's.
Well,
I love that connection, and I love hearing directly from the fans. I like meeting people at events. I hear the most wonderful stories, and it's extremely rewarding. And I just love that connection. I mean, that's what we're here on Earth to do, is to connect with each other. And so I try to always make the time to write back to the people who honor me by giving me of their time and writing to me.
It's amazing. What a lucky congregation that you have too, that you perform for them, or give yourself in service to them on Sunday. It just is lovely to have a sense of community too. You can go out into the world and be everything to everyone, but the fact that you can go home and have a community and be a real person, how lovely.
Yes. Yeah, I have lots of wonderful people in our church, and that's it just keeps your feet on the ground to be with the people who you care about and who genuinely care about you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we've
been going through some challenging times, as we all know, these past few years, and it's good to have that connection with your loved ones, and just a community of people that you can be with and be real with, because that's what gets us through these challenging times.
Absolutely. It's why I moved from Los Angeles back to small town America, is because
you go.
I don't have to question why people are my friend in a tiny town. It's because they love me.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Texas, and my grandparents are from a little town out in West Texas. They had a big cattle farm, and the only thing in the town were the First Baptist Church and the Dairy Queen. So I know that small town living, and so I applaud you for going home.
Oh, thank you.
So you're
and
always
really home for you.
Oh, I'm living in Rushville, Indiana at the moment. Yeah, I wasn't raised there, but my mother's whole family's there, and it's small town America. It's a farm town. We do have a Dairy Queen.
Yeah. Where mom is where home is.
Always.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Yep.
The old days we would say, hey, there's a Dairy Queen in every small town. For like the next generation, it's going to always be, there's a Dollar General in my small town. Like, I think that's the new mascot.
And they have some good buys there.
You're telling me Rebecca Holden shops at the Dollar General?
There are some things that you just can't get anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So you're very down to earth, and you're very approachable, and you're very like, I don't know, without like making you sound like a Hallmark story. Like, we work with a lot of celebrities, and I interact with a lot of folks like that. Not everyone is so pleasant. Not everyone is so positive. How do you keep from being a diva? I mean, you went from you don't become a print model without somebody basically saying, look, you are beautiful enough that like we think everyone else wants to look at you too. Like, how do you not have a big head and become a queen when that happens?
Oh, that's sweet of you to say. I never thought of myself in those terms. It never occurred to me as a little girl growing up in Texas who was always the bookworm with glasses and an apple and a book in a tree when my mother was looking for me. I was always the studious one, and like I say, music was my life. It allows you, I like to say that music picks up where words leave off, because it allows you to express all those things that are inside that there just aren't any words for. So I thought I was going to be either a school teacher, because while other little girls were playing with their dolls, I played school. I gave homework to every one of my little dolls and then graded their papers. So I thought I was either going to be a teacher or a piano teacher. So to have a life in front of the camera, I really had never envisioned that. It really wasn't in my purview. Mm-hmm. So I think of it as a job. So you do your hair and makeup and wardrobe and so on as part of the job, to whoever's hiring you, to give them their money's worth. But I don't think of myself in those glamour terms.
I'll tell you what, if somebody gives me like a billboard or a commercial, if I get something like that, you're going to have to talk me down a little bit. You got to remind me to stay grounded. And it's an old hat to you. Like that's
humble. Humble is the word you're looking for, Neil. Humble.
Because she was talking about. I said, well, you were on Knight Rider in the '80s, and she was like, well, she was on everything.
She was on everything in the '80s. It's not just Knight Rider.
All the shows wanted you on. You had like double-digit guest roles.
Love Boat. I don't know.
I did 2 Love Boats.
T.J. Hooker. Yeah. I'm trying to go through them all. There's like so many, like everything that they had like a 1-episode person.
Even now,
she was definitely a character.
Saved by the Bell reboot. Yes. She's still popping up on stuff.
Yes. Yes, and you know what I had the most fun doing? I did all the dramatic shows like Magnum P.I. and Remington Steele and Quincy and, all of those. And you mentioned T.J. Hooker, a lot of the drama shows. But I loved doing the comedies. Three's Company and Night Court and Barney Miller and A Taxi, all of the sitcoms. I just love doing comedy. There's something about it. And I think it may be that it's the rhythm, and the timing, because it's musical. If the joke lands on the right rhythm, then you get the laugh, and it's just it's timing, and it's fun. I always like doing comedy, so I enjoy doing all of those. There doesn't seem to be as many sitcoms.
The sitcom is dead now. It really is. The canned laughter, the whole that time has passed. And I mean, there's a few shows out there. The Ranch was good when it came on Netflix, and It's Always Sunny is on its 75th season or something. But you don't see those sitcoms anymore. Like I'm always watching the old channels, because when you want to watch a sitcom, that's.
I miss doing them. I miss seeing them, but I miss doing them because we did them in front of a live audience. It's different. Instead of shooting like a film all day, like you would at the beginning of the week you have your table read, and then you start blocking, and then you do the camera blocking, and then the last day you shoot in front of a live audience, and then they flip the audience to new people so that they haven't heard the jokes before, and you do it all again. It's like doing a play. So all that live audience, there's something magical about that.
Now, do you ever get starstruck on a set? Like, was there ever a time where you were like, holy cow, I got to pinch myself? Like, like I'm a big fan of all kinds of. Like, I just fangirl on everybody. But did you ever have those moments?
Yes, I did. I remember there was an actress that guest starred on Knight Rider on one of the 2-hour movies that we did named Barbara Rush. I thought she was so beautiful and so glamorous, and I had seen her do a one-woman play that I just thought she was brilliant. And so, I mean, those are the moments, that are real special for, a young girl to get to work with people that, and of course, you mentioned the Love Boats before. Of course, Erin had always tons of guest stars on those, so and a lot of storylines going in each episode. So you had a lot of people to admire.
Yeah, so when I open in for a new like famous person or even just somebody that's just new, like I'm like, look, I got it before we do this weekend. I got to get a photo with you. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things. Does that happen on TV sets and stuff? Did you get an autograph from John Ritter? Like, I mean, is this something that happens, or am I just like not built for stardom?
You're not built.
You mentioned that. I had all the original Knight Rider scripts, and somebody suggested at the time you should, as a regular on the show, you should keep these and get it. And I did. I had all the scripts autographed by all of our guest stars and so on.
Lovely.
And then, you move and you go, well, nobody's going to want these anymore, and finally, after moving them, you finally just ditch them all. And, I know that John Schneider is now selling all of his memorabilia on eBay, and the fans would have loved to have those. And,
you could.
Yeah. So.
Lots of money in a script that's been autographed from several episodes, that kind of thing.
But at the time, you're doing a show and you love your fellow cast members, and we're having a great time and all the camaraderie being on set, and you don't think about the effect that it's having on the other end. You're doing your work and you're loving it and you're all having a good time, but then it goes out into the ethers, and you don't know really how it's going to be received or how it's going to resonate with people on the other end. And that's what's so amazing about going to these Night Rider events, because you think of all the millions of shows that are made and put into the can, and what is it that made magic that here, all these years later, we're going to events in the UK. There were 70,000 people there, and 30 replicas of the kit car in a parade, and they're sharing it with their children and their little 5-year-olds walking around saying, "I'm Michael Knight." I mean, it's the cutest thing. And so we all the actors know, of course, it's the car, right?
There's a single digit number of like pre-2000 series right now on Netflix, and Knight Rider is one of them. So I mean, it's obviously there's a demand, like, even now, like for new fans rediscovering it or discovering it for the first time, and old fans and rediscovering.
So, like I say, we know everybody loves the car, and even girls are building replicas. They're into the Night Rider hobby, as they call it. And there are guys, believe it or not, their entire business is building cars for people, or carrying the parts, or doing the wiring of the dashboard for them. They make a whole business of only that. That blows my mind. But there had to be something more. I mean, I know Michael Chaffee is a dear friend of mine. He's the one who designed the kit car, and he designed the Back to the Future car as well. And he's the most brilliant, just amazing, wonderful, talk about humble, sweet human being that ever existed. But besides the car, there was something special about the show. And I think the theme of the show, as Glenn Larson created it, was one man can make a difference. And I do hear the most amazing stories at some of the events from people who come up to me and say, it inspired me to make a difference in my life. And now they're sharing it with their children and motivating them to want to make a difference. And I'll give you just one special story that I heard. This young man, a handsome black gentleman, came up to me and he said, "Miss Holden," he said, "I would like to tell you my story. I'm from Malawi, Africa. And Malawi is the poorest country in Africa. And our family didn't own a television. In fact, our entire village shared one tiny little TV. But on that television, I got to watch Night Rider. And it told me that I could make a difference. It told me that I could. And I believed it. And I took it to heart, and I studied hard, and I got scholarships. And I want you to know that I just graduated from Stanford University with a PhD in international relations. My doctoral thesis is being published, and I'm taking a job at the United Nations. And he continued to write to me. He sent me pictures of his New York apartment. He sends me pictures from all over the world where he travels. He's out making a difference. And, you think that came from just a simple TV show, but that's why we have to be so very conscious of what we put out on the airwaves, because it can influence young minds in both a positive way and a negative way if we aren't careful. So
and you go back and watch Night Rider, and you can watch that with your kids. You can watch that with your grandma and not be embarrassed that something's going to come up that you have to kind of hide your eyes or whatever. Like, they don't seem to make a lot of shows like that anymore unless they're straight up for kids. That are like appropriate for just everybody to enjoy it without some kind of social issue involved or some kind of adult theme or whatever.
Yes.
I think it's amazing too when you tell a story like that. You don't realize like the duties you have as an actor to tell a story and the stories that need to be told, because everybody thinks you're going into it for the fame and fortune or for the glamour, which it's probably one of the least glamorous careers ever. There's a lot of ugly parts about it, just like waking up early, doing all the makeup, standing around on set all the time, being freezing cold in the rain for hours. There's so many unglamorous parts, but that duty to tell the stories that need to be told. And something like, when you think about it, like it seems like such a like a silly show, a car that can drive itself and is saving the world. But then you look at that and you hear that story of somebody that's now changing the world at the United Nations, and your mind just goes.
Yeah. And even if it was a throwaway plot, like even if it was just something that was silly, sometimes, people are connected to, a memory they have at a certain time in their life when they were watching when Knight Rider was on the air. It doesn't even have to be a super impactful thing.
I was thrilled to death that you were coming on because it's such a big, I don't know, a part of who I am for sure. I loved the show. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. You told those stories for me.
But I had that discussion actually with Chris Kattan, who we've got coming up this weekend. The folks at home can see the dates popping on their screen or whatever. But I said something to him because I was driving him around the time. So we had lots of hours to be talking or whatever, and he said something like, those were silly skits we did, all this kind of stuff. And I said, but there's people that remember a certain time in their life, there's people that their parents have passed and they watch Saturday Night Live with you, and that's a positive memory you have, or you never know like how something ties, where you don't think what you're doing is important, but like you're part of somebody's memories.
Yes. And songs can do that. They trigger those memories. And if you watch those with your parents, then it brings back all those warm feelings. And of course, the girls watched it with David Hasselhoff.
Well, I was going to bring up, so if there's people that have not watched this at all, right? They never watched Knight Rider. They should watch the first 2 episodes of season 1 because it's introducing the whole storyline, right? But then you can honestly, like, if you're like, I don't know if I can watch 4 seasons of this, skip to season 2, episode 1, because that's when you come on. And that's when there are dual David Hasselhoffs. Of course, I'm sure you remember he's the bad guy and the good guy. And it started
the evil twin.
And that's that's your intro episode, right? Where the person whose face they modeled him off of is escaped from a prison and released or whatever, and now he's playing double duty on the show.
Yeah, it was fun. It was hard to pretend that David was somebody else because, of course, he played both characters. So, but we had a good time on those shows, and of course, Edward Mulhare was just such a brilliant English gentleman. I loved Edward very much, and then of course William Daniels played the voice of Kit. He had the cushiest job in television. He didn't have to go through makeup and hair and wardrobe. He came in his shorts and sandals once a week for about a half hour and put his voice down. And we didn't have him on the set to react to. We just had a script girl reading it in a monotone, and so we had to imagine what Bill's voice would be and that dry humor and wit that he put into it. So, but his voice was in my head to react.
Well, I love discovering all these fan conventions that are there. I had no idea. Like, I'd heard of conventions, but I had no idea how big everything was. And then it was Days of the Dead. It was a horror convention that brought in some wrestlers a couple years ago. And I had to work Saturday, so I couldn't meet Sting, which everybody was going to meet Sting. But my buddy had, like, a weekend pass, and he's like, hey, it's still open on Sunday. Let me give you the lanyard, and you can go to this. And so I'm like, I'll go check this out. And so I'm walking around a little bit, and right away I made eye contact with Matthew Lillard. And so I'm like, I'll go talk to Shaggy, I'll go like that kind of thing. And it was like we talked about the Pacquiao fight the night before. Like it was very like just two humans that like I respected that he's been on movies I've watched, and I was like, this is kind of fun. And then I met Linda Blair right after that, and I met Lita, and I was like, oh no, I'm hooked. I am now like I go to like a dozen conventions a year. I travel to other and so. Like the Missouri Cherry Blossom Festivals where we met. That's like a subgenre.
That's a nice
where
one.
They're older. It's calm. It's not super packed. Like you're not gonna people don't do the cosplaying, so you don't trip over the mobs of people that are doing all that. It's very like I don't know. It's in like a conservative town where they like. They have political like figures, descendants there, and military stuff, and some of the events are in churches.
It's very concentrated on our history, of our American history, and descendants of presidents. And there was a gentleman there that came the first year that I went. He was 99, and he was the last surviving witness of the German surrender in World War II.
Wow.
And when we were leaving, I said, now, Louis, you're going to be back here next year? And he said, I don't know about that, Rebecca. You do know I'm going to be 100. And I said, you're going to be here and I'm going to be here, and don't you stand me up because it's a date. And he was there the next year.
He was. Those are the two that I've been to. It's a lot of fun. I discovered it because I met Carolyn Grimes at Chiller out in New Jersey, and then I started. We're Facebook friends, and I'm following her page and all this kind of stuff. So now the algorithm's figuring everything out, and I had something pop up on my timeline that said Rebecca Holden's already been announced for 2023. It's called the Happy Trails Virginia style media event. And I was like, I looked at it and I was like, this looks like a further east Missouri Cherry Blossom Festival. Like, I need to go to this next year. So if not before, I imagine we're going to cross paths again in Virginia next May.
I look forward to it. That one's really fun. I always perform at their big, gigantic church there as well for that one. It's
on the Sunday,
Western
or is it?
But
or is it just a concert that's part of it?
They have it Friday and Saturday, I think, and then I think I did a concert on Saturday night, and then I think they have it again on Sunday. But it's a wonderful. Chris Mitchum was there, and there are a lot of people from Westerns, but also just family entertainment.
Fun.
Very wholesome.
Yeah, I like hitting the whole gamut, because if you just stay in Indianapolis, you get some of the comic guests and you get a lot of the horror folks, but that's it. So I'm like, it's not enough for me. I need to branch out. I like all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's been a lot of fun, and I grew up watching a lot of reruns. My folks were like, because there's in the 80s, Knight Rider was kind of clean, right? But like some of Cheers got a little rating. Like they were like we're gonna keep you from the PG and the R-rated stuff at night. So we watched a lot of Nickelodeon, Nick at Night, and all that. Those types of shows. So I'm only 44, but like a lot of the folks that are at these things that are gray-haired and like my parents' age, I grew up watching those shows the same way that a lot of people would have done that. I just watched them on Block Party Summer on Nick at Night.
Sure. And if you were at the Cherry Blossom Festival, you know that all the people from Little House on the Prairie were there, and the Waltons, and all those wonderful actors.
I'm going to see some of the Waltons at a flea market in Missouri. It's a hobby that like you can't. There is something every weekend. I had no idea, but you have to pick and choose because I can't be a full-time fanboy. But it's there's even one called Fanboy Expo. Like that's the name of the brand.
Hilarious.
It's just it's a huge industry. So definitely people should follow you and see where you're at. I've been recognized before. Like I got recognized in North Carolina. The dude that's like the bad guy in The Strangers.
He's like, you're his wife stalker. Was like, he's like, you're my stalker, please.
The wife was like, oh yeah, you must be from North Carolina because we saw you in Charlotte, because this was in Raleigh, and I'm like, I'm from Indiana, but yeah, you saw me there. Like that's wild, right? I must be memorable.
Great. Is that it?
It is though. It's a fun, but it's. Even if it's someone who I didn't necessarily watch growing up, like just somebody that's an entertainer that's giving back to their fans, like I want to talk to them. You know what I mean? Like you made it through. You know how many people overdose or have illnesses or have crime or like there's all kinds of things that. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, this is you're here hanging out and in this wholesome fun environment, and you're signing stuff for people. Like, let me get a picture with you. Let me go watch some of your stuff.
I think it's very interesting what she was saying before about people get in it for the fame and the stardom and so on, and I think the ones that really survive and do well and have long careers are the ones that are in it for the right reasons. I talk to young people who are trying to be actors or whatever, and they'll say, how do I break into show business? And I said, what is your goal? And when they say, because I want to be rich and famous, I know instantly that's the wrong reason. If you have to be in it because you love the work, like just like when you're singing a song and that harmony, it just hits exactly right, and that blend just takes you on a high. Those moments, that those creative moments that just give you that instant soaring feeling. That the same thing can happen when you're working in a scene, and that emotion is real, and you know that that's the same emotion that audience is going to feel, and they're going to relate to something in themselves that maybe they can't express in their own lives, but they can feel it in that moment, that touches them, that reaches and connects with them. That's what it's all about.
It's almost out of body, right? It's out of body.
Yes. And if you're in it for that reason, you're drawn to it, and nothing can stop you for that hunger for more of that realism. But if your goal is the surface stuff, all the surface stuff, that's nice if it happens. That's like the cherry on the cake, right? That's a result of the work. The work has to come first.
We know you've been part of some major productions. You've been interviewed by like professional anchors and all that. We got the Zoom going on where I'm half talking over you here and there. So I definitely appreciate you putting up with us basically like being fans.
Thanks for putting
tonight.
up with Neil.
Yeah, I'm trying to drag you into it. But yeah, thank you for letting us be fans.
We're just having a conversation. This isn't an interview, and you're as pro as they come.
Well, we do this to advertise the shows we have coming around, which are mainly stand-up comedy. So all those dates are coming up here. We're wrapping up here with you, but to give us a few of your favorite stand-ups. Like who do you like for comedy?
Oh my goodness.
All time.
That's a hard one.
No pressure.
Of all time? I always liked Roseanne Barr. I thought she was really funny. But then I saw her not on television, and she got a little raunchy, But I love Joan Rivers. And she was raunchy, and I think they have to do that with their live audiences because the audiences expect it. But I always thought, I saw Joan's play that she did in Westwood in LA, and I laughed, I cried. She was a brilliant performer, and she paid her dues. She paid her dues. Absolutely. I loved her. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Her books are really good reads too.
I'll have to.
She's honest. She was honest about her life, and she overcame a lot of challenges.
So if somebody knows you from Knight Rider, nothing else, they're like, you know what, I'm gonna look at some other projects of Rebecca Holden. What are your favorite? Like, what would you want somebody to go after first? What should they look up? Is it music? Is it a movie? Is it like other performances? What are you most proud of?
I would say go to my website and go to some of the promotional reels. There are montages of various scenes of a lot of different movies and TV shows, and then if you see the one that catches your eye, then you can go find the episode of it and enjoy that. I have a new recording of When You Believe. That's an inspirational song that it's going to be released very shortly. And I love performing for our military and for patriot events. So anywhere where I'm singing the national anthem, I think that's one of the most privileged moments in my life are always when I have the honor and distinct pleasure of singing our national song.
That came up while I was, you got the songs like they automatically picks the next one when you're playing like the Apple Music Shuffle or whatever, and it's like when she sings the anthem, you don't turn it off. Like it's not before a ball game, it's not like the 4th of July, but you're just like, you know what, like I'm gonna pull over and put my hand on my heart. Like that's like a fabulous rendition. So.
That's very sweet of you. Well, I love our country, and I think we have some great things ahead. I think it's just a matter of time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We're enjoying getting some throwback names, some celebrities, in addition to some of the talent we work with. And I'll tell you what, you write a stand-up set, let us know. We'll have to talk to you about getting on some shows. How about that? So.
Okay, I would love that. Wow. Okay.
All right. Well, I will see you in Virginia probably next May. That's the plan. So if not before that.
That would be absolutely wonderful. I've enjoyed talking to y'all so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We will we'll cross paths again.
You got it. I look forward to that.
All righty.
Y'all have a good one. Thank you so very much. Right. You're both a joy. What a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, same back to you.
All right.
What a fun night.
Yeah.
Gotta have all the fun.
This is one of our cleaner programs in history. It's nice that we got the library of all of the podcasts, and this was a fun night. A little different vibe than say a Sam Lasco show, the Greasy Caveman, or Dustin Sims, or somebody with the dirty jokes. You never know what you're going to get with Mad Hatter's shows. So go to our website, go to our page. Look in if you go to our page, you go to the photos, you can see all the shows we've had before. Even if there's nobody on our roster right now that titillates your fancy, whatever the phrase is, keep coming back, because we're always adding new shows. You never know who's gonna be on stage with us. We've done pro wrestling shows, we've done music shows, we've had rappers and country music, we've had different comedians, and we're basically national now. We're all over the place. So let's go over the August shows again one last time, and we'll head everybody out of here. But this weekend, Josh Arnold, Reno Collier. That's going to be
so fun.
2 shows. We saw Reno earlier, and this weekend it's going to be in Columbus, and it's going to be in Hobart. The night before, Hobart will have had the Hodge twins. They'll be recovering from that, and we'll be riding that show there. So we've got all of that going on. And then the 11th to the 21st, Chris Kattan, he's coming. I think we got a poster up there, Chris. Chris Kattan and friends. So every show is going to have 3 and 4 different folks on there. He's headlining the events here. So
he's so lucky. He has so many friends.
Yeah. Very cool. And if you've been like, hey, that weird rambling guy that's like behind the desk there, like, I think he might be funny on stage, you are actually going to get a chance to verify that on the Chris Kattan shows. I'm one of his friends, so you can check that out, and you can check me out with Reno coming into Oak Grove in November. We'll have probably the poster up for that here very soon, November the 12th. That date's in ink. So lots of stuff online. We appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight. If you're like, hey, these interviews have been fun, let's check out some others. Any place that podcasts are played, you can go back. This is episode number 21, so we've got 20 other ones that you can go back to. You could binge us for a day.
I know, it's like your 21st birthday, only better because you're going to remember it.
Absolutely. And come to a show at the Irving and purchase a Mad beer. We got the official beer of Mad Hatter shows. So.
Fancy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always fun, and then I got to go back to business here. So I'll let you close. Like, what do you have words to close us with tonight?
Everything's so fun. We're so happy you tune in. Come check us out again some other time. And until then, you can hunt me down on an antique tractor this weekend.
There we go. Yeah, and in Richmond with her not boyfriend.
Boyfriend.
I think we're actually, the plan is to be here in a couple weeks too, so you stay looking at the page. We'll have that official date out there, I think, right now in ink. It's in pencil, or is it in ink? August 24th.
23rd.
Strong pencil, August 24th. We're going to try to get Kid here from Kid and Play. It's going to be a great night. We will see you the next time.
Love you guys.